covering what Baltimore workers removed in dead of night. Baltimore City Council passed, by unanimous vote, a motion to remove pieces of American history in the dead of night. Following the chaos in Charlottesville, Virginia, Baltimore Mayor Catherine Pugh was more concerned with the feelings of the snowflakes rather than preserving the history of our country, and what she had workers do under the cover of darkness is leaving conservatives furious. 4 Confederate monuments were dismantled overnight in Baltimore just days after protests over the planned removal of such monuments. A crew of workers came in with their heavy machinery in the early hours of the morning to erase these pieces of history. The 2 monuments that were placed in honor of Robert E. Lee, commander of the Confederate Army during the Civil War, and Stonewall Jackson, a Confederate general, were removed from Wyman Park Dell in the city. The other 2 monuments that were taken down were placed in Mount Vernon, honoring Roger Taney, who wrote the 1857 Dred Scott which upheld slavery, and a statue of Confederate soldiers and sailors. The statue of the soldiers and sailors was vandalized earlier in the week with red paint, allegedly a factor in the decision to remove it. A crane came in and swooped up the statues, loading them onto a flatbed truck at 3 in the morning, and 45 minutes later, the historic monuments were gone. Baltimore Mayor Catherine Pugh spoke about the removal of the statues, telling Baltimore Sun, "They needed to come down. My concern is for the safety and security of our people. We moved as quickly as we could." She continued, "I did not want to endanger people in my own city." Smug Mayor Pugh, who personally watched as the statues were torn down, defended her decision to remove all of the history that the monuments held, good or bad, while in the dark of night, adding, "I had begun discussions with contractors and so forth about how long it would take to remove them. I am a responsible person, so we moved as quickly as we could." Unfortunately, her sentiments weren't even the worst or most ignorant that were expressed. Following the acts of domestic terrorism carried out by white supremacist terrorist groups in Charlottesville, Virginia, this past weekend, cities must act decisively and immediately by removing these monuments, Baltimore Councilman Brandon Scott wrote in a resolution calling for the removal of the statues, according to Daily Mail. "The folks that are displayed in these monuments were traitors to the United States of America, and we should not honor traitors with monuments," he said. "We should not have these anywhere for public display. These monuments are being used as beacons of lightning for vile racism." It has yet to be determined what they will do with the removed monuments, but melting them down to honor true Baltimore heroes has been discussed. The dismantling of the historic statues is an embarrassment to our country, showing how insanely sensitive some of our citizens have become. It has become trendy to tear down offensive statues in our country these days in hopes of protecting the irrational feelings of snowflakes, to feel oppressed by objects that trigger their emotions. We wonder if the George Washington Memorial will be next. We have to ask ourselves where our politicians will draw the line, and the answer isn't looking good. Thank you for watching this video. What do you think about this? Share this on Facebook and Twitter along with your comments.